I want to now switch to how you do things at Erin Hills, because you're very fortunate to wear two hats, in that your operation involved at this phenomenal resort, but also a researcher with a really broad view. So what you probably don't have at Erin is a position that looks like this. Because you're all about the experience. Maybe take a minute before we dig in, and that's coming next, how you actually do it and how you use technology for better results. Where you see the big risks for golfers, for operators, for the game in general, if you don't take the time it takes to play, and how we handle the experience on course seriously.
Yeah, so I have an advantage. I call myself a practitioner because I have the ability with the education end of it, and then to work with individuals at Erin Hills. What a wonderful facility. We have departments throughout the entire property, but we're seen as one property. And so what we're trying to do is to educate our entire staff about what it means when that player calls and books our tee time all the way to the ranger interaction until they leave, to be able to realize that pace is a component of that. We need that player to be able to have a great experience with an understanding that if they are 5 minutes from their tee times to 2 hours from their tee time, how we work with our staff to be able to make sure that we ensure that on time or component to the first tee. And in fact, getting to the first tee is critical. So when we look at pace, it's important for us to think about pace as a component of time, always time and the pace component. Golfers, they come to the property, they pull out their clubs, and they're there to enjoy. And the risk that we have is, we've realized with using Tagmarshal from a 9-hole to an 18-hole component, we're going to start looking even deeper into the first 3 holes. Our first 3 holes are very critical for you to get to the place that we have figured through the benchmarking metrics, that is going to help the rest of the day. We are a walking-only facility. Because we're a walking-only facility, our caddies create such a great experience, but we have learned after putting, and we should talk about these variables that we put associated with each time. So our starter, under the direction of our head golf professional, Jim Lombardo, has instructed our starters to gather data. Great conversation, here's what's going to be coming ahead of you, and then the second thing is, as the players leave, we have asked them, have you been here before? We write down, what tees are you playing? We look at our weather conditions, whether they are a hybrid, somebody's taking a caddy, someone is not, and we put all of these variables into that one tee time, and then as it relates to our pace, we're able to realize, and including the caddy, after how many years, we're realizing that we have a number of caddies that are late. They are delayers. They are the issue, not necessarily the play and the conditions.
Let me jump ahead, and we look at, we're probably out of position as far as our timing goes.
Yeah.
There's so much great stuff to talk about. How do you look at your course with the line of sight that the system provides? And you mentioned catching people in the first 3 holes, having the interaction early, making sure that you benchmark in terms of your expectations, and also communicate that to your team. The team communicates that to the players. How does the technology help you? How does the data gathering help you understand your course better? And how is it that you are now a diamond partner of Tagmarshal, because you got such amazing results? That doesn't happen by chance. It's a daily effort, and perfection and optimization happens every day. So how do you keep up with that, and what are the processes that you've put in place, and how does that help you?
Well, first of all, it's the data. The reviewing of the data, our head golf professionals, our assistants are going through and looking at the data real time, all day long. Second thing is the education. We have the components of education, the scripts that are being written, we role play, or we make sure that we understand that interaction between the player and the corrective action is needed. The data is very helpful. We're a massive property. There are times where we have put in a shuttle between 4 and 5, this long walking distance. If we need to have that corrected, our marshals, our rangers will actually go out during the day and move a group back into place with the help of some, cart usage. Those are all areas that are real time and that we make that decision. We have a game plan, we make that decision as it occurs because of the data.
So in this instance, this is not your course, obviously. Yours is much prettier. What would you be able to see? Would your team be able to see here in terms of information of these playing groups, and how would they make a decision where to interact?
So the best part about Tag 2 is you have the delay. They've categorized who's being delayed, corrective action, be able to say, hey, we're on it, so that satisfaction continues, and then who's the delayer. And because we can identify who the delayer is, that's where the interaction, and that's where we need to either look at what tees are they playing, because we know what tees they're playing, what tees they've started at. If we move them ahead and make a suggestion to a forward tee, has that put them back into place? What are our caddies that we're doing? So when we look at these areas, we're pretty good, but then obviously we have these hot spots that have to have an attention to our marshalling groups in those areas. So the real time, the ability to look at multi-variables, because you've been able to do that, and then on the back end of it, we look at the data that we're collecting on that first tee.
So here's a view on some data, so we can see every single tee time and how it performed. This is not from Erin, but what you guys do at Erin is you don't have just a flat goal time you work towards. You're actually starting your day a bit quicker and then you're staggering upwards, so you can pull play along. We're looking at weather, like you mentioned earlier. We want to always track interventions out there by your team to see are they successful. Your starter is supposed to be as accurate as possible, so you can keep your, that's a bad example, you can keep your intervals alive. And you can also see your hole by hole and how that performs in a single day and over time. And ultimately, you want to know how many of our groups actually came through on pace, how many were held up, and how many may have not had the optimal experience. So this is something that you, as a team, obviously benchmark and you set goals. What are the one or two sort of key indicators that you constantly communicate internally and also report on?
Well, we were asked to be here because of the overall experience that we have for players. So this marshal interaction, so it's important for us to, if there was an interaction and it didn't go well and we're able to put those notes in there and that player comes back into the golf shop, our entire staff is able to kind of understand what possibly might be coming to him. Someone that's not very happy, someone that felt pressured, all of those different things helps us with the team on that end of it. The other end of it is that we are looking, generally we're about a 12-minute tee time with our intervals. Can we make it shorter at different times of the day based upon what we know from historical data and the weather and the individuals, our caddies? Can we possibly make a different capacity level on the golf course by shrinking those tee times? And those are the things that we're going to look at this year even more, is being able to say, could we do a 9-minute? Should we do a 9-minute? Can we do a 9 and then a 12? What will that do for us? And those are, that's revenue, that's money.
Our developers explained to me that basic physics the other day, that if your group is going at a quicker pace, you can actually tighten the interval because they are moving faster. So in a certain time frame, in 10 minutes, they're actually doing another 40 yards compared to a group that is going at a 40-minute slower pace. So if you can control that well, you can really create capacity. And I know that you have done this really well over the years. And capacity for you means additional green fees, additional legs through the resort, additional nights of accommodation. So there's a very, very real commercial interest in doing this well, over and above creating a no surprises perfect experience. Thank you so much, Kris. Thank you so much everyone for joining us.